My vacation is over. Oh, it sucks so much.
Oh, welcome to Patrick's Motovlog. Better than watching paint dry. Paint dry!
So, as you can see, I'm back on my Sub 1000. It's pretty nice, I like it. And back in the south of Sweden again. Sadly, this means that my vacation is over, but you can't have everything, I guess. It's, as you can see, a pretty nice day, and it's an early Sunday morning, or, well, not that early, but somewhat early. Early for me to be out riding, at least. And you might be thinking, well, Patrick, are you stupid, going up early on a Sunday morning to drive? And yes, I am stupid, but not because the reason you might think. It all started when I thought, I want to buy some new leathers. And then I was looking around a bit, and I saw this flat black, and thought, wow, flat black, that seems like a great idea, it looks good. And it does look good. I like the looks of it, but as you can imagine, the flat black catches the sun quite nicely, and this pair of leathers, well, they don't have any form of perforation or ventilation at all, so it gets quite hot during the summer. This whole problem with the color of the leathers is something I've only been riding for like 5 years or something, 4 years, so I didn't really foresee the trouble with the colors, but yeah, now that I've had my gear for a while, I realized that, well, maybe, I mean, black looks good, but maybe it's not the best color, and also from seeing other people, I think white is probably not the best color either, since it gets dirty quite quickly. So we'll see. I'm thinking at some point here I'm gonna buy myself some new leathers, and we'll see what I can find. But one thing I know for sure is it won't be completely black, and it won't have a lot of white. That's all I can tell you at the moment. Otherwise, regarding gear, I've gone mostly for safety. I chose the Alpinestar GP Plus gloves, which are quite nice, and some Alpinestar boots as well. This was after talking to a doctor who thought that if you want to have just something, I mean, I guess we all have to wear helmets, at least in Sweden you must have a helmet, but besides that, it's he said that hands and feet are really difficult to repair, so protect your hands and feet, and of course back protector is always a good idea if you don't want to be in a wheelchair. So I would say that's the minimum. Then if you want to wear leathers, or if you want to wear Gore-Tex or something like that, I'd say that's up to you, but since I usually drive like an idiot, I think I'll stick with the leathers. I have been thinking about getting some form of Kevlar improved jeans and things like that to use on the days where I just go for a slow ride, like into town or something. So we'll see if I ever get around to buying something like that. To be quite honest, I'm actually not that impressed by the Gore-Tex gear, because an acquaintance of mine, he got some Gore-Tex pants with the Kevlar enhancement and all of that, from a really well-known brand, and quite expensive, and were supposed to be really good, but he low-sided his bike in a roundabout, and the tarmac just ate through the fabric like that, and he was only doing like 30 kilometers an hour, which is something like 20 miles an hour, and just slid a little way on his side, and he was fine where he had a hard protection, but where he didn't have any protection, the fabric was just gone, and I think it even melted a bit, so it melted into his skin. So that's why I think if the Gore-Tex can't even protect you at such low speeds, then I don't really trust it. I mean, now I'm not going very fast, but if I were to crash now and wearing Gore-Tex of the same kind he was wearing, I don't think it would have a nice outcome. Now, regarding gloves, what you really want to look for is three things. One is that your pinky and the other finger should be connected in some way, because it's really common that you break your pinky when you crash. The second thing is that you want some sort of sliding protection inside your hand, something hard, like here I have some plastic there, and also some thicker area here, so when you put your hand into the ground, if you crash, then you can just slide. And the third thing is an extra belt around the wrist, which stops the glove from going off your hand if you are sliding backwards. So those three things are really recommended that you look for in a glove. But then again, I would say, like, if it's really hot summertime, I think it's quite important also that they stay cool. I mean, I could probably skip a few of those things, or maybe one of those things, if I could just get some good ventilation. Because, you know, if you're getting really hot on the bike, then you're not concentrating, and then it's more likely that you have an accident. Regarding boots, I think you should look for something that has the sole should be quite rigid. So if you can imagine that your foot is under the bike when you've fallen over, the bike shouldn't be able to crush your foot. So I usually take around the sole, and I squeeze as hard as I can, and I shouldn't be able to bend it sideways. Also, I look for some protection against twisting. The boot, if your foot gets caught in something, it shouldn't just be able to twist that easily. At least there should be something, some kind of strengthening to stop it. I mean, if the worst happens, you're probably fucked anyway, but you could at least try to protect yourself from some of the accidents. Regarding helmets, we have in Sweden an ECE classification, so it's all the helmets that are called motorcycle helmets have to fulfill it, and which means that they're pretty much good enough protection. But otherwise than that, I think it's mostly comfort. The cheaper helmets tend to be much louder, and much more wind get in, and the visor fogs over more easily, and things like that. Also, from personal experience, I can tell you that it's a good idea to have a rigid shin protection, because I fell over once and I went over like that, so my face hit the ground head on, and if I had had an open helmet, my shin would just have been crushed. So yeah, I'm always gonna have a rigid shin protector from now on. Regarding your leathers, I think most of it will probably do. You want to look for something that has extra protection for your elbows, shoulders, hips and knees. Otherwise than that, just something that will keep you cool, which I also know to my cost that yeah, that's a must-have. Unless you're gonna ride a lot in the spring and autumn, I think I will be wearing this when I do that, because this is also a bit too big, so I can fit some extra clothes under, and then I'm gonna have another pair of leathers to use when it's really hot. Maybe that's the way you want to do it, if you can't fit a lot of clothes underneath it. I mean, you don't want your leathers to be loose. It should be tight to keep the protection where it should be. So if it sits properly when it's warm, then you're not going to be able to fit enough clothes under. So I think maybe you should, when you're starting off, maybe it doesn't matter, but when you've been riding for a while, maybe you should look into having 2 pairs of leathers. Coming to the roundabout, taking it easy so I don't get crushed by cars.
Oh, thanks for watching my vlog. Don't forget to subscribe.